Hello, and welcome to Totally Schway Flipside, a podcast about whatever the hell I want it to be about, and the comments from Totally Schway. My
Yeah.
name is Mary,
My name is Luke.
and today we don't have any news other than it's never going to turn into fall. So we are gonna go straight into the comments. So grab a drink. I'm having a Diet Coke, and I'll probably switch to coffee in a minute. Luke has a water. What are you guys drinking?
All right, so then these are the comments on the latest episode of Totally Schway, which was about Terry McGinnis and how Mary thinks he needs therapy.
Oh yeah, I think everybody needs a little bit of therapy.
Yeah, probably. And then the first comment then is from RJ Productions, who says, I love that Terry McGinnis is basically the Peter Parker of the DCAU. The difference is that he never had a Green Goblin, like villain in his Rogues Gallery, unless you count Derek Powers, who's basically just Norman Osborn. Well, there you go. That sounds like a pretty good descriptor. He also was green, too. Shocking connections there. To continue Harry's comment, he says, I've just realised there's been no actual BTAS podcast for specific episodes in a while. All I can say is that if there's a Birds of a Feather centred episodes, I'm going to reenact the bedroom scene from Terrifier 2. Kidding, obviously. But in all seriousness, and speaking of BTAS, Luke and I are collaborating on a very special video talking about an episode he loves and I hate. It's going to be an interesting polar opposite dynamic review, lol. Yes. Yes, that's a very nice way to announce it, Harry. So we will share that with people when it's ready. I mean, I've done. What was I going to say? I added my part for that video. Oh, a while ago, wasn't it? So we're just waiting on you now, Harry. Jesus. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. Take your time. It's not a problem. But yes, thank you for your comment. Next, we have A1ML33Y, which is Julia Raoul, who says, Hey, something about Mary and Luke Wilson. Good news, I'm not dead. Yay! Did you miss me? Do you know what? I did wonder if perhaps we'd upset you by saying something you didn't like, but it's glad to see you've come back. Forgive me for not commenting for a few months. I had eye surgery in June and July. I had a great birthday in July and watched James Gunn's Superman on my birthday. Woohoo! That movie cheered me up because I was having my doubts about DC, and it's really cool to see a Superman movie where he saves people and animals and doesn't destroy the city or break necks. It's nice to see Superman be a good guy in these movies. I love Krypto in the movie, best character in the movie in my opinion. I also love seeing Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and Metamorpho, and Supergirl, and a Green Lantern that doesn't suck. Yeah, Guy Gardner will be very pleased to hear that you don't think he sucks. And seeing the Hall of Justice really put a smile on my face. I'm happy to see a DC movie not rely on Batman 24/7 because right now I'm still kind of tired of seeing sad, bastard, grim, dark guy who isn't even an effective hero in his own depressing movie. Like, he doesn't even have a dog or a rainbow batsuit or a bat family. Matt Reeves just hates fun, I guess. Anyway, I've been trying to get back into DC Comics, firstly avoiding Absolute because it's grim, dark, edgy, and everyone is miserable.
Sounds like a good time to me.
And I'm currently reading Sophie Campbell's Supergirl, and Nicole Main's Secret Six, Black Lightning, World's Finest, and a few of the Superman titles. But I'm still avoiding Batman comics because they always end up being too damn joyless, taking themselves too damn seriously or getting all violent and gory like Absolute Batman. And sadly, this is why I'm just a living... I'm loving Batman being antisocial, violent asshole to his Bat family and super friends with his stupid prep time and murder robots. Like Luke Wilson, I have a question. Is there a mainline Batman comic where he's not an asshole because Failsafe, Tower of Babel, and even Scott Snyder, New 52 all just make Batman look like a bigger danger to his super friends than his villains he fights? Read the latest issue of Detective Comics number 1100. There is a very touching story in there about Batman helping a young deaf boy find his stolen dog. It looks like it's going to be all sad and grimdark, but it's actually very uplifting and very happy. And there are some other quite positive stories in there as well about a nurse and, well, maybe I think they're two nurses talking about the effect Batman has on the kind of injuries they see in the accident and emergency department. Before Batman came around, it was a lot of people with like gunshot wounds and more serious injuries that ultimately resulted in death. A number of injuries have gone down. And the type of injuries have changed to more like broken bones, things people recover from. I thought that was quite an interesting story. But yeah, I've recommended that to you before. Go and give that a read. And also, by the way, if you haven't read it already, go and read the Metamorpho series that recently came out. It's only 6 issues. It's full of zany, fun Silver Age concepts like Simon Stagg's building becoming sentient and going on a rampage through the city. I think it's Jump City he's in. But to continue the comment, anyways, thanks for reading my letter, Luke Wilson and Mary. Until next time, and one more question. If the Absolute Universe comics are so great, then tell me why I should read them. Because they're a different flavour. That's all I would say. They're a different flavour. And I think that perhaps if you view them in isolation, they may look like dark and bitter. But what they're actually doing is, by having all this darkness and bitterness around them, they're extenuating the heroic qualities of the characters and making it shine even more. Absolute Wonder Woman is a perfect example of this, because she is, as an infant, she was cast into hell to be raised by Cersei. But rather than becoming like a mean edgelord, as you might put it, she's actually a bright and positive figure that elevated everybody around her. And she continues to do that in every issue. Absolute Wonder Woman's really good. But, if you're not into seeing any sad or violent material, then maybe avoid them. And it's okay. You don't have to like everything. Not a problem at all. But thank you for your comment. Moving on to moving on to Lower Lucas Jr., who says, honestly, I think Terry being Batman is his therapy, because how else is he going to cope with the regular world having so many corrupt people and treat them like trash versus the villains who rarely take us such lives? I wonder what that means. Must be a typo.
Yeah, I think it's typo spelled correct.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we've heard of the healing power of laughter, but I suspect Batman would also advocate the healing power of punching someone in the face.
I could agree with that, because therapy is so many different things. It's not, and I think in the generation that I'm a part of, the millennial generation, I think we have found that out, that we don't always have to have, like a psychotherapist. Some people like to do their therapy through exercise, or through doing something creative, or all of the above. So, yeah, that could be his therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Kicking ass and taking names.
Next, we have Big Mikey P. Michael Andre Parlon, who says, time to explore the Spider-Man of the DC animated universe. Helps that Batman Beyond didn't become too long, good voice acting and animation, and had a proper ending, unlike Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man the Animated Series, and Spider-Man Unlimited / The Spectacular Spider-Man. Ooh, that was a long sentence. Marvel Comics too cheery. The Civil War stuff, Spider-Man's losing Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane Watson, and even Aunt May in certain scenarios, and X-Men 97 say otherwise. In the defense of Batman Beyond being set in 2039 to 2042, the DCAU had Apocalyptian, Imperium, and Thanagarian invasions that obviously never happened in our real world. Say what?
Huh? So that person that's wearing the hawk mask outside...
It's just a nutcase.
Shit. Oh, I mean, poo.
Say what anyone will of Nelson Nash, I'm sure he'll end up a surprisingly great dad, as seen in the Egg Baby episode. Wasn't Terry the only one that passed that class? Not even Nelson passed? Anyway, if yours truly was a company president to, say, Disney, yours truly might want to make people do shows, movies, books, and games based on the DCAU, minus Static Shock and the Zeta Project, though. Gasp. The first two Marvel Cinematic Universe Captain America movies, those later Red vs. Blue seasons up to season 13, and Beast Wars Transformers with a little bit of Michael Bay's original trilogy. Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, Xena Warrior Princess, and Smallville, the rest of the CW stuff are a has-been formula nowadays. Also, ditch the Amphibia Season 3 Earth filler nonsense, whatever the Owl House Collector's business is, and the lack of broken masquerades. We want United Nations, interdimensionary expeditionary forces, super soldier programs akin to Project Batman Beyond, and savvy human authorities being the villains and not reality warper god entities. Well, speak for yourself, Big Mikey P.
Big Mikey P, I have a question. Well, actually, I have a question to everybody. There used to be this show that I would see, I think it was just the credits bit, the first part of the show. And it was like this kid changing into a different animal or something. Do you happen to know what the name of that is?
Was it Ben 10?
No, it wasn't a cartoon.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know.
I don't either, because I only saw that and then I left the room.
Sounds a little bit like a classic British show called Woof, where a boy would just randomly turn into a dog every now and then.
No, because it was different animals.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain it wasn't Woof.
I can Google this.
Okay, Mary's going to look it up while I continue the latest essay from Big Mikey P. 17 minutes and 31 seconds. And speaking of Bruce Timm, he ain't that involved in those Bruce X Barber episodes of the DCAU. Folks like Kurt Gader, on the other hand, well, hang on a minute. I've never heard anyone say that Kurt Gader had anything to do with it. So let's stop pointing fingers and just accept that this is a different take on the characters. It doesn't actually matter all that much. I'm weirded out by the Hamilton Hill High fashion sense. The girls are too indecent for their own good. At least Japanese anime Sifuku feel more practical and not slutty. Neo Gotham is clean, sure, but Neo Metropolis is pristine. And imagine what Neo Central City and Neo Dakota City look and function off screen.
I know what it is now.
What is it?
It's something called Animorphs.
Oh, Animorphs, okay.
Never actually watched it, but...
Is that related to Transformers? No, that was Beast Wars. I don't know.
I just thought of that when I was doing that.
Someone will let us know.
Tell me more about Mikey P's comment.
27 minutes and 3 seconds, so like the Mass Effect trilogy. Wonder if the likes of Luz Nokeda's and Amity Blight's DNA can be covertly tampered so to make sure that they can magically conceive a Mahu Shouju Supergirl worth recruiting for quite a powerful yet desperate multiversal defense force. Sorry, lost my train of DCAU thought. Well, I was going to say I lost my train of thought mid-sentence.
I just don't have thoughts.
No.
Unless they're bad. So, I don't know what to say.
Okay, well, I'll continue with the comment. It's actually shorter than usual. There's only like 3 paragraphs left.
Literally, there was a quick pause. Because I needed to get another drink. Because I wanted to prepare myself for Mikey's thing. And now I just have like a spare drink over here.
Well, yeah. And I say 3 paragraphs. It's actually 4 sentences. But anyway, if not that, Shanghai an experiment on Star Butterfly and Marco Diaz's kid, and then do a Kent family adoption thing to the lovably kind sapphic witch couple after the deeds are done, till the kid's powerful potential finally comes out. Messed up, true, but karmic justice and pragmatic practicality shall prevail, and Project Batman Beyond progenitor Amanda Waller is a saint. Debatable. Speaking on the last flip side, I forgot to mention finishing up the novel White Fang there. Oh, good. I'm glad we got the update. Won't lie, I sympathise with the Justice Lords more in recent years and won't be surprised if the Justice League downpowering them and leaving behind Justice Lord Batman to protect their alternate universe alone is a big mistake, and one that otherwise apocryphal Batman Beyond 2.0 comics acknowledged.
You'll have to watch next week's Totally Schway episode to get our thoughts on there. See what I did there?
Yeah, well, that's what he was alluding to.
I know. Mikey P, you're great. I fed right into that. I love it.
Yes, but thank you for your comment, and I appreciate the fact that it wasn't as long as usual, so I appreciate the consideration you're showing to my tired old voice.
Yeah. Old voice.
Yeah. I do feel my age, but anyway.
I feel like a perpetual 15-year-old.
Mentally or physically?
Oh, mentally.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Physically, I feel like I'm 87.
Very specific.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was saying to someone recently that it doesn't matter how old I get, I feel exactly the same mentally as I did when I was like 10 or 11. So
I'm glad that I've although I feel that age, I know that I'm not.
But yes, let's move on to the next comment, which is from Doc Widener, and he's submitted a rival essay to challenge Big Mikey P for longest comment. Although I think he's really got a true contender in someone else, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yes, for Doc Widener's comment, he says, "Thank goodness you're here," which Mary still needs to play. I think a short comment this time. Lol. Post flood work continues. Everything that was kept is back in the basement. Had to buy and build new Ivar shelves from IKEA. For some reason, the mitigators threw out 8 units of it. Sent Mary some pics of this year's Sweet Corn Festival. One of these days, we'll start using the community section. Yeah, you should. Go in there, post these pictures for everyone else to see. Don't hide them in Mary's inbox.
You can still email me.
Yeah, you can still do that as well, or just send her a link to the community post and then she'll remember to comment on it.
ADHD, folks.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got another thing from Doc as well, because I think he sent me some pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sent us some pictures of a comic shop, didn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway, Well, Guy having trouble getting a good source, so we'll be drilling again at some point. Not sure if he needs an additional permit or not. He is not the best at communication. Daniel has been back in school. Winter semi-year practices. Year? Or is that yeem? Anyway, practices start Tuesday. Monday is Labor Day, and Ohio State beat Texas. Mary, as a good Oklahoman, should be happy about that, and her Sooners beat Illinois State. They host Michigan next week after their warm-up game this week.
These are the photos I was talking about because he's in to the OSU game. OSU, I believe, is Ohio State as well as Oklahoma State, but obviously they're two different. But the OSU that he went to was probably a little bit better this year, in my opinion. Just saying.
Okay.
But look how many people are there.
Yes, there are lots of people there.
Wow.
This is thrilling for the listeners who can't see the pictures, so Doc, go post them on the community section. You have to use the mobile app, I'm afraid, rather than posting them on the through the browser, which is an annoyance, but they will be rolling out the feature to browsers in the future.
I love this so much.
I'm going to continue the comment now, Mary. And Doc says, bullies. The tragically short-lived Freaks and Geeks had a great scene where the AV club teacher, I think, tells the geeks about how they're nearing the point where for most of the jocks they will start to peak in their life and it is downhill, while the geeks will continue to move up in life. I was already out of grad school by that point, but as someone who identified with the geeks, it rang very true.
I loved that show. It was. Do you know? Did you ever watch it?
No.
It was only one season, unfortunately. I loved it, but it had James Franco. I believe Seth was in there as well,
mm-hmm.
And a few other people that are quite popular nowadays. But, oh my god, the storylines were just chef's kiss, because it really felt like people wrote about their high school experiences, but also just their lived-in experience of being alive. And I really wish it would have got picked up for another season.
Cool. So Doc continues by saying, I'm not sure pervert would be the word I would use to describe Bruce Timm, but he did have a very male gaze with the female form. I know that is not what you were saying about the Barbara Gordon baby daddy issues, and goodness knows he is not the only one to draw skimpy costumes, but I do think he's one of the elements of the comics that made it male-dominated for so long. I am one of those who doesn't like the Amanda Waller eugenics program that came up in Epilogue. The appeal of Batman, at least to me, is that his abilities are learned. Outside of his immense wealth, that is what allows him to be driven the way he is, but there is not a bat gene, and I guess Waller even admits it isn't perfect science, since Terry isn't a clone and he isn't quite as good as his father, but even that bothers me. Which is why I've never been keen on Damian Wayne. It is why I liked Last Jedi and was so frustrated with Rise of the Skywalker. Psych, Rey actually is a Palpatine. Her being a nobody was interesting, it was different, it allowed for the story to grow in new and potentially exciting ways. Why did Terry succeed at taking over for Bruce where Dick or Tim did not? Well, Tim is obvious. But instead of it worked this time because Bruce was older, wiser, and had a different approach and an older protege, which is all still true, they watered it down with because it was his real son. I have a biological kid and an adopted son, and this kind of thing bugs the heck out of me. Completely understand.
It does. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I don't think that was the intention with Epilogue, but I can totally see how you might read it that way. And I know that there are some people that worked on those shows that have gone, actually, maybe we shouldn't have done Epilogue. But I think it does also say a different message, though, in that just because, you are somebody's son, that doesn't mean you are a carbon copy of them, right? You can do things your own way, and it's just as valid. Different message, but still a message nonetheless.
Yeah, that's so. It's just like, I wish they would have gone a little bit further into that, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that aren't aware of how to kind of like broach that subject.
Yeah.
Even though if you adopt a kiddo, that's your child. That's your everything, It's not, blood isn't always, the best thing. And I know a lot of shows around that time as well were very, like, especially with, like, the stepchildren and TV shows and stuff like that. It was like, oh, And I like nowadays that people say that's our bonus kid. But then again, I don't like that because why can't you just say that's your kid?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's very true. Even in trying to make them feel special, it can kind of isolate them, can't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like highlighting the difference. But anyway, I'll continue Doc's comment, who says, continuing to enjoy Alien Earth, Peacemaker, and Foundation. We'll probably wait for Foundation to finish to get going on season 3 of Invasion. Oh, that's something you wanted to watch as well.
Yeah, I'm waiting for all of the episodes to come out.
Yeah, I want to watch Peacemaker as well, but we haven't even started.
I need to rewatch the one episode that I watched and then watch the rest of it.
We've got 3 months free of MGM, so I'm knocking out season 3 of From at some point soon. Interesting concept and world building. Lostian in a way, but also its own thing. Grilled cheese and sausage patty for Daniel. I'm not hungry yet, so I'm not sure about brunch for me. Oh no. Well, I hope you did have brunch, because otherwise it's been a very long time since you've eaten.
Can we say what our favorite brunch items were?
I don't recall.
What is your favorite brunch item? Or breakfast, lunch item?
Probably pancakes.
What do you think mine is?
Probably something like an egg muffin or something. I don't know. Egg and cheese.
Well, I say the crumpets because
Crumpets. What about grilled cheese?
I do love a grilled cheese, but it's hard for me to eat some cheeses over here now because some of them aren't. Although I'm not a vegetarian, I have to look for vegetarian cheeses because Google Rennet.
All right, next comment, and I think this is actually the lengthiest one to date. And that's Screen Wiper with his chicken news update.
I have some pictures as well.
Oh, good.
It was really cool. Thank you for sending me those. I looked at them yesterday on the way home, and I looked at them again just now because they were just making me smile.
So his update as of Sunday the 31st of August is, I'm sure you will be pleased to read that basically nothing has happened this week. Everyone's fine. Everyone is cute. There has been no drama. Now she has her energy back. Wilma gives me a bit of attitude.
I love it.
I go into the garden and she's like, Daddy, before you ask, I'm fine and I'm eating well. Please don't fondle me or stick something down my throat. This is the same chicken who held a grudge and sulked for 3 weeks. The first time I shouted at her, she kept trying to eat me or mild, and mild or stern telling off didn't work. So this isn't out of character. Doris has more days off from laying eggs than days on, so hopefully won't give herself salpingitis, butthole swelling caused by overworking. I'm not making that joke. She makes me worry about egg binds sometimes, but so far always lays good egg after a day or two. I'm such a child. Mabel's fine. Also laying less, so it must be a seasonal thing. She took over a whole month off last winter. Got my eye on both layers, watching out for complications. Betty is just Betty. Half chilled out gentle giant and half short-tempered grump. She seems well. I'm thankful everyone seems well. That unaccounted for rat is back, but I have stopped using pellet bowl now. There is only the mechanical feeder and the mush bowl, which gets moved onto the patio when the hens are released from the aviary. So there's often very little for him to eat. He was coming here every day, but has started visiting less lately, and unless something happens, that's the news. Seeing as that was so brief that for those new to Luke and Mary Network who didn't just follow the show on Serum Lake, I suppose I'd best explain why there's chicken news in a Batman DC podcast.
Because it's like there's why wouldn't there be? Because they are super chickens.
So he'll try to be brief here, and he says, Summer 2023, I had a hen called Blue. Blue was an absolute legend, perhaps the greatest chicken who ever lived, certainly the biggest badass I ever met of any species.
Truth.
That includes all you cops, soldiers, and martial artists. Blue was my best friend. She was also the leader and, when her final companion died, the last surviving member of the rescued hen pack she was part of. But I couldn't rescue more hens to keep her company because she was sick too, dying it seemed. It was a weeks-long process getting her diagnosed correctly and then treated correctly thanks to the bungling pharmacist. It was all very scary and highly emotional. As such, I lost interest in music. Sad music made me even sadder. Happy music felt grossly inappropriate, and angry music made me feel how tired I was. But I wanted to listen to something while being in the garden keeping Blue company, so started listening to more podcasts. Having watched Serum Lake since his first video essay on Two-Face, I got into Totally Schway. I left a comment telling them how helpful they'd been getting me through the ordeal with Blue's illness. Thanks again, guys. And they responded wanting updates on Blue.
Of course.
So the scores of people rooting for her, She had scores of people rooting for her, and so I kept giving the updates. Blue recovered like the little Chad she was, and went on to become foster mums to Wilma and Betty, plus the sadly now dead Pebbles. The updates continued because people just kept wanting to know, and that's why there's chicken news now, even after Blue's death last summer. I forgot to mention that at the start of August, we had both the 1 year anniversary of Blue's death and the 2 year anniversary of Wilma's and Betty's rescue with Pebbles. But first week of September is the first anniversary of Doris and Mabel's rescue. A whole year of life outside the horrible egg factory. So glad the hens made it this far. I really enjoyed having a summer where nobody died for a change. Yeah, apart from celebrities, there was a spate there where quite a few just started dropping dead. Michael Madsen, Ozzy Osbourne, Terry Stamp,
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, oh yeah, well, is what it is. Even if Wilma and Doris both came close at points, so keep up the good work, Luke and Mary. Oh, one more thing. Last time someone asked about whether Wilma left mites in my house after her medical stay. No evidence of that has been found, so almost certainly not. They'd starve as there's no more indoor chickens to prey upon, and I wash myself far too much to be viable prey myself. If humans are even at all viable anyway. Also, that's if the house spiders don't get them first. I have many house spiders, there to keep away false widows. If there were mites left, they'd be dead or gone now. Well, that's good news.
So I have a question for everyone now, especially you. Scream Viper. If you see a spider you don't like, do you swat it? Or do you take it out? Because what I do is I shriek. It's like one of the only things I shriek at. I find Luke, or just tell him to get in here, or there, or where.
Yeah, actually,
and then he has to take it out.
You don't tell me. You shriek like you're being murdered.
Yeah, because I am.
And I come running and going, "What the F's going on?" You're like, "There's a spider over there."
Yeah, and it's probably the size of like a pea.
Yeah, a little tiny thing.
I will tell you this. Since Gilgamesh found out that spiders are playful, I say playful, they're not really, he tells us when there are spiders.
Mm-hmm.
And we make sure he doesn't hurt them.
Our other cat Apollo likes to eat spiders, though. I remember one time seeing he'd actually eaten one of those. They've got the thin bodies, but like the really long, thick legs.
So in the States, we call them daddy long legs.
Yeah, but those are crane flies over here.
Yeah.
But he'd eaten one of those, and I could see the legs sticking out of his mouth and like twitching, and I was like, "Oh no!"
But yeah, we don't hurt them.
Try not to.
We try not to, because in my eyes, if I did that, then I don't know. I just don't.
It's a living creature, isn't it?
Yeah. So I make Luke take them out.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, he takes them out in a very polite way. Whereas me, I probably pissed myself by then. So.
Mm-hmm. But yes, thank you for the chicken updates, Free and Wiper. We'll look forward to reading out the next one next time. So the next comment is from Ryan Jones. Hello, Ryan. Hope you're doing well. In which he says, in my opinion, Bruce needs therapy more so than any other hero.
Yeah.
Also, due to my optimism, I can't watch certain episodes of Doctor Who because certain episodes of Doctor Who that take place in the future makes me feel very depressed and is not good for my mental health. I really don't like the 12th Doctor. I'm sure that Peter Capaldi is nice in real life, but I just don't like the 12th Doctor, and I especially will not watch his seasons of Doctor Who again because if I do, I really would need therapy after that. I really like Peter Capaldi's Doctor Who stuff, actually. There was some nasty stuff in there, like what happened to his companion Bill. But then there was also some very like positive, life-affirming stuff, like the episode with the Zygons, or what was that other one? Oh, I can't remember it now. But I remember thinking, damn, that was a good episode. Anyway. I have thought that to cheer everyone up, I will say the lyrics of Save the City from Rogers the Musical. I know that things look dark, but I know that this can't be the end. And to quote Steve Rogers, I can do this all day. Oh, I see. From the Marvel movies, the Steve Rogers musical. I get it. I get it. Mary, what is wrong with the light-hearted stuff? Some of my favourite things are light-hearted, and also there is nothing light-hearted about X-Men or Black Widow movie, which are from Marvel, and I'm sorry for my rant, but But every time I hear someone say that they hate something because it's so cheery, I always imagine that person to be a pretentious edgelord. I hope I don't offend you, Mary.
Oh God, no. So when I was a kid, my mom, my stepdad did not shy away from us watching things um, like gritty crime movies or any movie for that matter. I mean, like I've said in the past, when I was a child, one of my favorite movies was Interview with the Vampire, and then I liked, a lot of stuff like that. When I started to be able to like pick what I wanted to watch at like 5 or 6, I just felt like the light-hearted things, like some of the comic shows that weren't like Superman or Batman, I felt that they were like talking down to me in a way. And then I guess that's always kind of stuck in my head. But I don't think that they meant to do that in those shows. But I mean, anyone that's watched like early 90s, late 80s shows that were on TV in the 90s can probably understand what I'm talking about. Which is why I didn't like um loads of like kid shows at the time,
Mhm.
because I don't want to be told to do something. I want to be I need it to be explained to me sometimes, and then explain to me how I can make something better or how I can, do something. Um but yeah, I don't hate lighthearted things. If I said that, I was misspeaking, but I do feel that the ones around that time were just,
Bit too
kids, you
cheery.
have to do this.
Mhm.
Whereas nowadays, a lot of the lighthearted stuff does exactly what I wish it would have done when I was a kid. Was it shows the mistake, the perceived mistake, but it shows how to overcome what came from that mistake, and then how not to do it again. So that's fine, but just don't tell me to, you know, don't do this.
Mhm. I think I can use a Doctor Who quote here, Ryan, so you get bonus points if you can tell me where it's from. But the quote is that sad is the smart person's happy.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not offended by anything that you
Mhm.
you guys have said, because it's valid to
Yeah, we all have
want to
different
know.
tastes.
Yeah, but it's also valid to want to know why somebody feels a certain way. But
Mhm.
say, what would you say was quite lighthearted nowadays?
Oh, I don't know. I don't watch it.
Well, there's some lighthearted things that I watch nowadays. I can't really remember what they are, but I like it more nowadays than I did back then.
So I'm just going to continue Ryan's comment. There's not
Okay.
much left. And he says, today, as I'm writing this, is the day that Princess Diana died. Luke, I know you don't care about the royal family, but what is your opinion on her? I don't think she was treated fairly.
Mm-mm.
And, she tried to do some good stuff, like her work with the landmines and the AIDS charities, so fair play to her. She should have been entitled to her privacy.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, one of her bodyguards went to the same school as me, and he came to do a talk during one of the school prize givings. He was like one of the few people to survive that crash. But anyway.
She was very, even in her death, she has taught the world a lesson that, we do, not we, as in like whatever, as human beings, we all deserve a certain amount of privacy. But I really, really love the fact that because you obviously you mentioned it. There's the video of her, not just
Hmm.
a picture of her um hugging the children that have AIDS. And
Yeah.
back then, that was like, excuse you, why are you doing that?
Hmm.
And I just feel like the love that that woman had inside of her, she showed it to
Hmm.
people around her, and that was really lovely. Anyways, you asked how Luke felt, but yeah, anyway.
Hmm. Here's another question. It says, by the way, what is your opinions on the Pirates of the Caribbean movies? I really like the first one. I've only seen two of them, I think. I might have seen three of them, and, they're fine, entertaining watches. Johnny Depp doing his best Keith Richards impression. It's fine.
Wait, they're not the same person?
He wishes.
I didn't mind the first one. I don't think I've seen any of the other ones.
Okay. And I said this question in a previous episode of Totally Schway, but you didn't answer it, and I kept forgetting to remind you. But will you do a Totally Schway episode of Batgirl, Scarecrow, or Lockup?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I might just avoid Lockup because I get a bit fed up of most of the comments I get are good, well-meaning, educated, sensible comments. But every now and then you get someone come in and go, actually, Lockup is a communist because he wears a balaclava. You know nothing of politics. And these people just kind of irritate me. They shouldn't. I should just be able to dismiss them. But
I know.
unfortunately, I can't just let it lied.
Yeah, I know Batgirl is definitely coming soon because I've been, I mean, like in my little file of facts diary thing, I've got pictures of like Max and Supergirl,
Mm-hmm.
and it's to remind myself that that's something I want to do in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we could probably talk about them.
Yeah,
But Lockup, I'm gonna say no because I don't.
there's a really quite concerning trend I've noticed actually in some comments with people saying Lockup was a good guy, he did nothing wrong. I'm like, he tried to drown Summer Gleason because she hurt his feelings. You think that that's good? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, and honestly, I don't hide my politics, but I also don't feel that I need to. I know some people that comment on lockup things, and not just on Luke's channel, um, they kind of try to justify um lockups like politics or the what he does and all of that, and I just don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me being honest. I think that's probably the only character that I would not, but I've just said no, I don't want to talk about.
There is someone made a very funny observation. He said, I love seeing some of the right wingers' reactions to this Lockup video where you've got a good chunk of them going, there's nothing right wing about Lockup at all, and then an equally large chunk of right wingers going, hell yeah, he's right wing and we love him. Like, ooh, okay. But anyway, enough about Lockup. Let's move on to the next comment, which is from David Carney, who says, hi, Luke and Mary, really enjoyed Batman Beyond, and Terry is one of my favourite versions of Batman. Yeah, he's very good. Do you know, it's a very difficult thing to do to introduce a replacement character for a beloved hero, isn't it? Like, if you think about, let's say, Raiden from Metal Gear Solid. I didn't like Raiden. I preferred him when they made him a bit more distinct by having him be like a cyborg, and Metal Gear Rising was good. But I remember when Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, as a child, I was disappointed in it. I was like, but I want it to be Solid Snake. I don't want to be this guy. He's not very good. But, you know, the Batman Beyond team absolutely nailed it. So well done.
Really, if you think about it, he's not being replaced because this is a new era of Batman. I'm going to say it again. It's a Batman of the future. So, yeah, I love Terry.
So just to continue David's comment then, he says, when it comes to therapy, I feel Bruce needs it more than Harry. Yeah, he probably does. I did enjoy the Rebirth era of Batman Beyond because they are their own separate thing. And you know what? That's fair enough. And you're completely right. They are their own separate thing. They've got their own continuity, their own timeline. Different things happen in them, like their Joker was killed, air quote, killed in a train crash. Not shot by, and they said Jason Todd then, Tim Drake. So yeah, they're not the same thing. And I think when people conflate the show with the events of those comics, that's when I kind of get a bit annoyed because they're very obviously different. But, you know, I still get people going, you know, Bruce Timm's a sicko because he got Barbara Gordon pregnant via Batman and then made her have a miscarriage. I'm like, Bruce Timm had nothing to do with that. What are you talking about? But anyway.
People that blame Bruce Timm for everything are weird.
Yes, yeah, they are. They absolutely are. They need to get over it. Anyway, finishing off David's comment, he says, have a good week all. Thank you, David. Appreciate your comment as ever. Next, we have a new commenter, I believe, and I'm pretty certain I would remember this username if I'd seen it before. It's the one and only Cucumber. And they say the thing is, if he goes to therapy, his therapist will figure out his secret identity. Well, that is possible. And there were times, actually, in Batman Beyond where he did go into therapy. Like, he pretended to be to go under analysis with Spellbinder, didn't he? To try and lure him out into robbing Bruce Wayne so they could catch him. And there was, in Payback, he went to the support group for the disgruntled children, and he spent a lot of time talking about how frustrated he was with Bruce Wayne to lure Payback into attacking him. And the joke in that episode was that, Batman's like, wow, you were really convincing. And he's like, yeah, because that's how I feel. That was good.
Yeah.
But, you are right. If he goes into too much detail, they may figure out he's Batman. Next, we have another new commenter who is August DSJ 1993, who says, 4 minutes and 46 seconds, same bro, same. It is so stupid when teens fight in school. Yeah.
Truth. Honestly, like, after we recorded that, I was talking to my aunt about something, and then that brought up some like memories of high school and why I just felt, because I chose myself to go to an alternative school after my first year of high school, um, because I hate, and this is, forgive me if this is shitty of me to say, but I really hate the teen angst thing.
Hmm.
I didn't have teen angst. I was very sad. And I just didn't really get why some teens were angry just because they couldn't go to a party or something like that. And that's probably a me thing because I was allowed to do pretty much anything I wanted, but I chose not to. Because I would rather stay home and read or watch an old movie.
Yeah, well, anger's a secondary emotion. It's something you feel in response to something else, and it's kind of like a way of trying to feel some sort of control. Like you're upset about something happening, so you get angry and go, "Rrr, smash!
Yeah,
I'm not weak, I'm big and strong." Rrr, trying to convince yourself more than anything else.
I was on my way home, like literally on my way out to go home. And somebody did not make whatever sports team they were going on or wanted to go on right in front of the security guard. The guy just punches the other person in the face, like the person that got the spot that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm out. I'm leaving. I don't want to have anything to do with this. I really don't.
Yes, but thank you for your comment. So let's move on to the final comment now, and that is from Seal Unit 2000, who says, honestly, yes, therapy would help him, but this is Gotham. Trying to find a therapist that's not going to turn into a henchwoman for a clown is impossible in this town. And yeah, as illustrated by the fact that I mentioned the 2 times Terry went into therapy before. One time it was with the villain Spellbinder, and then the other time it was connected to the villain Payback. So kind of illustrates the point, doesn't it? Are the writers of the DC animated universe trying to say that therapists are secretly evil villains? Maybe.
They might be taking this from personal experience. Maybe their therapist did end up being like horrible, terrible villains.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ask Stan Berkowitz and say, Stan, what did your therapist do to make you so mad?
You know what? You want to know something? The very first therapist I ever had, he was this cool Canadian dude that he liked to tell people he was Canadian. And I was really young, and I just showed him pictures that like I found in my house because he said all you have to do is show up and then whatever. So I would bring him random pictures of my dogs. I still have one of those pictures, by the way. And he told me, he was like, well, if you do that and we're just gonna sit here, do you mind if I sketch? And I was like, okay, he's just gonna write on his little pad or whatever, just like a stick figure or something. Half an hour later, because I had hour-long appointments and I just sat there looking through my own photos, then I would look around at his room and stuff like that. He was a great artist. Scary great, because he loved the outdoors as well. So he drew, like, the beginnings of a sketch of an elk, I think it is what it would be called, the one with a huge.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I've seen this elk before, so I just decided I wanted to show you. And I was like, why? And then first question I ask, of course, is it going to kill somebody? You know what he did? He tilted his head a little bit.
Said yes.
No, he was like, I don't know, but it could. So yeah, maybe all therapists are like that.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not kidding about what my therapist did. But
Yeah, I know.
that was like 30. No, it was 20 something years ago. I mean, I'm only 21.
All right, so that was the end of the comments and therefore the end of the show. Mary, do you want to give a plug for the next episode of Totally Schway?
Yeah, so we are going to talk about the Justice Lords.
What about them?
Everything.
Everything.
Well, everything that I want to write down about them.
Do you want to mention the thing that Big Mikey P referenced about the follow-up comics, which don't count because they're not by anyone from the DC Animated
You
Universe?
can do that if you like.
I'll say that in the episode then.
Yeah, so I did want to go off topic a little bit because on Luke's channel we did a Pride special. I think it was back in 2023. And I don't. When it comes to some of those comments, I don't typically read them if they're mean or whatever. Usually Luke sees them beforehand and just mutes the people. But there is a person that commented on it saying not tasteful things about the LGBTQIA plus community. And I just want to say this right now. If there's anybody on Luke's channel or this channel here that has anything against being queer, having a different religion than you, or looks different than you, that is not my problem. That is not a problem to me. The problem is that kind of thought needs to be banished in this world, because love sometimes needs. So there are people that we just do not like in this world, and that's okay. It's probably because they did something to us or you just didn't get along. At the end of the day, you still need to respect them, and you still need to show your love of being human, your love of humanity and society. Because if you don't, you're going to end up very bitter. And if you start coming at the trans community or the gay community or someone liking comic books community, that says more about you than it does us. I love the I love the queer community. I am part of the queer community. I never want to see someone tell me that the religion that my grandparents were a part of would not have loved me, because my grandparents did love me to an extent. And they had no problem with who I was or who I would potentially date or anything like that. They did not care. So this person that left quite a stupid comment mentioned something like that in it, and it hurt me a little bit, because how dare you say that God wouldn't love queer people or God wouldn't love trans people? It's not up to you to decide that. Has nothing to do with you. The God that my grandparents told me about loved everyone, even people that we think might not deserve love, like people that hurt people, were still loved by the God my grandparents believed in. And there's nothing that can take that away. And when you start to talk about intercourse, I think you need therapy, because being gay is just like being straight. You love somebody for who they are. You don't always have to think about that particular part of the relationship. And if you are thinking about it, you're a weirdo because, why does that even have anything to do with it? Love is love. And I have heard that all of my life. And I will continue to say that. And I will continue to treat people that hate the queer community or hate anyone else that isn't white or Christian. I will treat them with love and respect, just like I do everyone else. But I will kindly tell them where they are wrong. Because just because somebody is gay, or they're not Christian, or they're, a different color than you, gives you no right to go off on the internet that your God is some way better than their God. So, I doubt many people will listen to this part of the podcast, but I just want to say if anyone ever does that on this channel again, I will not entertain it. I will delete it. Well, most likely Luke will delete it because I don't want to bring that sort of vibe in here. I love all of you guys. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what religion you are. And I don't care if you do talk about your religion because I find that extremely interesting. As long as you're being respectful, and all of you guys are really respectful. So I thank you guys for that. And just remember, love is love. And just be happy that you're alive. And be happy that there are people in this world that understand you. So yeah, basically my long rant is about just not accepting that sort of behavior. It was none of our regulars, by the way.
Well, I think we're going to end it there.
Yeah, we should. And we're going to talk about justice laws next week.